everybody. Welcome to Rachel's Reviews. And this is a very fun tradition that we've been doing for quite a while. We've been taking a look at the films, both short and feature length, that were nominated for Best Animated Films at the Academy Awards, at the Oscars. And this is just really fun. I look forward to it every year. And I am film critic Grace Wagner, and Mat Brunet's here.
Hey everybody, how you all doing?
Yeah. I don't know what was the first year we've done it, but it's been a while.
Yeah, we've done it for like a good amount of times actually.
Hmm.
Maybe like at the very least I would say maybe somewhere in this decade at the like somewhere at the start of like 2020 or 2021 or
Yeah, I
something
think
like
so.
that.
Yeah. So, and you all want to make sure to listen to our ranking and overview of the year as a whole that we also did a pod where we talked about the year in animation, but we didn't talk about any shorts then. So that'll be the main difference. But if you want more detailed thoughts on the feature films of the year, including these ones we'll talk about, then you definitely want to check out that episode. But I guess for the record, how do you think that 2025 was as far as an overall year for animation?
For an overall year, it's been very interesting, to say the least. I think it's been one where it will certainly be noteworthy, especially when there have been a lot of very significant ones, such as K-pop Demon Hunters coming in as like the biggest streaming movie of all time, or at
Yeah,
the very least, the biggest so far. And then you also got Zootopia 2 that came in as the biggest American animated feature of all time. And then you
it's
also
true.
got Noja 2, which that went on to be the biggest of them all, like
Yeah.
including the first one to ever break $2 billion at the box office. So there have definitely been plenty where they are noteworthy and have broken significant records. I think this is going to be one where we will be looking back several times upon certain animated features that they really made an impact in the animation industry and in movies in general.
Yeah, it's really interesting that I was worried. I was worried during the pandemic that actually family films and animated films would be the hardest ones to bounce back after being sort of subjugated to streaming after the pandemic. But I was completely wrong about that. Like, if anything, animation has been the most resilient.
Yeah, they have definitely proven to be the strongest, especially to go and help out movie theaters.
Yeah.
Like, there was a
Yeah.
moment where people would think, oh, it would all be sent to streaming, but then you got movies that still proved to be strong, even during the pandemic. Like, a great example is Minions Rise of Gru,
Yeah.
which that made tremendous numbers. And even if there were like a few companies that had a little bit of trouble of bouncing back into theaters and placing themselves back to normal, which is especially the case with like Disney, Pixar, and
Pixar.
even a bit of Sony as well, considering that they're still dependent on releasing their movies on Netflix. But still, eventually, we see things get better and better, and now we're at the point where it's mostly been animated films that have been crossing the $1 billion mark at the
Yeah.
box office, which we
Sure.
have seen like not just with this year with Zootopia 2, but even looking back at films like the Super Mario Brothers movie, Inside Out 2, Moana
Yeah.
2, and several others. So animation and family films in general, and this is not even counting like the live action family films where
Uh-huh.
say what you will about the Disney live action
Yeah.
remakes, some of them have still been proven to be very strong, including the Lilo and Stitch remake. So at least
Yeah.
there is still a lot more attention and a lot more of a tradition of getting back into the movie theater to go and watch movies. And not to mention also, since we are discussing of how animation is doing this, but also anime has been more
Yeah,
and
I
more
was
of a
just going to say that.
powerhouse.
What an incredible year for anime, with the Demon Slayer movies doing so well at the box office, with Chainsaw doing so well, it really was an incredible year for anime, and I kind of wish that the nominations had recognized that somewhere. that they had maybe nominated Scarlett, since you had a Hosada,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it was very. I mean, I guess I shouldn't have been surprised because the Demon Slayer movies have all done well, but how well they did was a little surprising to me.
Oh yeah. Well, I
Yeah,
mean, Demon Slayer has already established itself as one of the biggest anime franchises. It's like,
yeah,
and it's one of the it's one of the fastest growing as well.
yeah,
Like we got some major ones like Pokemon and One Piece, but they took a bit of time to be where
yeah,
they are today. Like they didn't immediately become like a smashing phenomenon, or at least in the levels of where they are now. And with
yeah.
Demon Slayer, it's almost like instant of becoming a global sensation, which is
Hmm.
how like Mugen Train, like even Mugen Train actually, like that actually holds the record as the highest grossing film of 2020 in general. And then you also got and then you recently got Infinity Castle, which that went on to, I believe, be the highest grossing Japanese film of all time. If maybe I could be mistaken,
Yeah,
but
I
it's
think so.
massively
One of them, yeah.
successful.
I mean, and interesting too, like if you're using the Pokemon example, because when you're using Demon Slayer, it's an R-rated film. So the
Hmm.
fact that it had such an impact is even in a way more impressive,
Oh, it
you know?
is, and
Yeah.
it's still going strong because I believe with Infinity Castle, that's going to be part of a trilogy. So it's going to keep on continuing
Yeah.
until
Yeah.
we get that ultimate finale.
Yeah. So here's an interesting question. So if China had submitted Neja 2, which who knows why they didn't, we have no idea. But if they had submitted it, do you think it would have gotten a nomination? And if so, which one, which whose spot would it have gotten?
Honestly, I would say yes. I mean, I love Noja 2. I think it's one of the best animated movies of this year. And considering that it's like the big, like, box office behemoth that it is, I think it would have probably gotten a spot. And I think if it were to replace one, I think it would have been either Elio or Arco. I think
Yeah.
like swap one of those two, and it would have easily gotten that spot. Like, and I'll even say I was quite surprised as you are that it wasn't even submitted altogether, even when A24 stepped in to go and release the
Yeah.
English dub of it. So I don't know. I don't know what it was. I thought like maybe there was some kind of regulation that like Chinese films are not allowed to enter into the Oscars because like when you look back, like it is pretty rare to think about a Chinese movie actually get nominated at the Academy Awards. So I don't know if it's maybe just
Huh.
China not doing so, or maybe it's something within the Academy that they have a regulation not to put in a Chinese
You,
movie. But
oh, it could be. That'd be interesting to know. I didn't even think of that, that it might be more than just an animation thing. It might be a
mhm.
overall.
Are you a fan of Rachel's Reviews? Do you look forward to Family Movie Night, Female Film Critics panels, or the Talking Disney podcast? If so, please consider supporting the podcast by becoming a Patreon. As a patron, you get to access monthly events such as the watch-alongs and Q&As, where you get to talk to stars and find out the behind the scenes of the movie making industry. And you can pick what I review for Family Movie Night or even become a guest on the podcast. Podcasts and YouTube channels are expensive, and I really, really could use your help. I would so appreciate it. You also get to be a member of the Facebook group where we talk about all the films that we're seeing, and we have so much fun. Go to patreon.com/hallmarkies and select one of the Rachel's fan tiers. That's patreon.com/hallmarkies.
Let's dive in. I think we'll spend less time on these features because, like I said, we did the whole other podcast talking about them in detail, and we'll spend a little bit more time on the shorts, but we'll spend time on both. But let's dive in. Let's talk about it. So we have 5 features that were nominated. We have Arco, Little Amelie, or the Character of Rain, K-pop Demon Hunters, Zootopia 2, and Elio. So, was there any surprises to you about these 5, or did you feel like it was
Honestly,
predictable?
the biggest surprise for me is that I felt like I was able to go and predict them all easily. Like
Yeah.
I met like I feel like this was a year where animation was not really that interesting in terms of who would get nominated because
Yeah.
it it is those movies that were expected to get in there. I mean, even for me as an animation guy, I felt like the live action features are a lot more impressive and a lot more fascinating to discuss about, especially
Yeah.
with many of the records that have been broken with films like One Battle After Another, Sinners, and all that kind of stuff. So, like even for me, I feel like I would want to go and keep more of an eye out for that. But in terms of animation, yeah, it's kind of like the regular players are to be expected to be nominated in this. If there were a big surprise, and this is not just for the Oscars in general, but I would say for the entire award season, is how strong of a player Elio was. Because when that came out, it didn't really get that much love. It turned out to be a box office bomb, and even on social media, people were relentlessly attacking it and weaponizing K-pop demon hunters to take down Elio and pretty much shaming it for being a failure. Not to mention that a lot of them, like a lot of the criticisms really felt bullcrap because then they also brought in the Cal Art style argument about it. And then there was the moment where it could have gotten a chance to actually find a new audience when it was released on Disney Plus, but the timing of it, it's like comically bad because it happened literally at the same time as the Jimmy Kimmel controversy, and when people decided, okay, Disney did a wrong move, let's bail out of Disney Plus. So, yeah, it was just bad luck after bad luck for Elio, but then suddenly came the award season where on repeat, again and again and again, it finds itself being nominated for Best Animated Feature. Now, granted, it didn't win any, but still, though, the fact that it still stood out among the rest and continuously getting those nominations across several different platforms and several different award shows, that in itself, I kind of felt like it was an impressive move because after everything, you wouldn't expect much from Elio, but the fact that it came up as a contender, I think it deserves to have a mention.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't love the film, but it wouldn't have been my pick. I think I would have picked even something like Dogman over Elio. I would have picked certainly Bad Guys 2 over Elio. I would have picked Scarlet over Elio. I think those are all stronger films. I do think it was a weaker year in general as far as animation. And I see that it has some strengths. It's a movie that does wear its heart on its sleeve, which I appreciate and I like. Well, I guess let's just dive in. We'll talk about that one first. So Elio, for me, like I said, I think the strengths are the heart of it, the sweetness, the animation is quite beautiful. I didn't bother me. Those Cal-Lot arguments, those are ridiculous. Like every era of animation has different styles for different eras. You know, whether it's the Disney Renaissance style, whether it's the Don Bluth style in the late '80s, whether it's an influenced by different things. And I mean, now you've got a lot of the sort of the Spider-Verse hybrid animation. That style is kind of what's but certainly in the late 2000s, you had that Pixar really emphasized style. And in the end of the day, it comes down to the story. I don't care what the particular style is. It turns into the overall craft of the film and the story of that they're telling. And it can be in any style, can be effective, in my opinion. But anyway, as far as Elio, my biggest critique of Elio was that I felt like they didn't do a very good job of making it what I would call an overall family film. To me, this film felt very skewed young, especially once he got to the planet. It felt very little kid. All the interactions with the other aliens. It's been a while since I saw it, so you have to forgive me. But just everything felt very little kid. This is the interactions, the lessons, the other thing like that. Which that's fine if you want to make a movie for your pre-K kids to enjoy. Fine, I guess. But like it didn't have that crossover sort of. I was kind of bored by the movie. I thought it was kind of boring. And so I don't think it had that full, this is going to be for the entire family film. but it wasn't like awful. I didn't hate it or anything like that, but it just didn't quite come together for me.
You know, I would argue that I could think of several other features that I would probably go and nominate over Elio, but then again, a lot of them weren't even submitted at the Oscars in the first
Right.
place. Like,
Yeah.
Noja 2 wasn't nominated, Wallace and Gromit Vengeance Most Foul, that was nominated last year, so, but I will say that, I'm still happy for Elio that it even got a nomination in the first place. I personally enjoyed the feature. I definitely thought it was a lot of fun. Not Pixar's best movie, however, because the story does feel like it is the weakest aspect because it is the liar story where Elio has to pretend that he's not what they think he is. So yeah, there is that typical narrative that we've seen again and again in plenty of animated features. But what I personally enjoyed about it is that it feels like the heart of classic Pixar came back with this feature. That this is a movie in which it brought back that old spirit where it really is about focusing more on the emotional aspect, more so than the actual story and stuff like that. And I feel like it works tremendously well, and it makes the movie feel very deep, especially with the way that it kind of twists the old question of are we alone? Not just making it about aliens, but also making it about people individually when you would feel like in terms of your life and stuff like that, if you feel like you are alone as a person. And that is something that I felt that I very much connect with the picture. I very much connect with characters like Elio and Glorden. So it really does more than makes up for it with the charm, and not to mention the beautiful animation and the tremendous voice acting. I would even say that this features my favorite performance from, I believe it's Brad Garrett. Like he's been in Pixar movies again and again, but this one honestly, is my personal favorite as the villain, as, Glorden's dad. Like, he was just a lot of fun as, like, this bit, like, now playing as this bomb, this, like, this big, angry, villainous type of alien. He was a lot of fun. So, overall, though, yes, it's not a perfect Pixar movie. It's not among their, like, masterpieces, but on its own, it's still a very enjoyable and very heartfelt picture. And honestly, like, I know it's ironic to go and say this about a Pixar movie, but I kind of felt like Elio is the underdog of this year's Oscar nominations.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. All right. So let's talk about one of the smaller ones next. So let's talk about Arco.
All right.
So this film is the first time this film is first time director Ugo Benevenuto. Sorry, I know I butchered your name, but anyway, so this is a sci-fi story about a futuristic planet where you can travel through time once you get to a certain age, and he jumps off too early, and he ends up going way back in time. And the story is he meets this girl, and him and the girl are going to try to get him to go back to his home, back to the future, right? And then this is a very pretty movie. That's its biggest strength. The animation is beautiful. I also think the music was very strong. The story, I'm not a big sci-fi person, so I also thought this one was kind of boring. And I wasn't that invested in what was happening or the story, but it was pretty. I did recommend it.
Yeah, I did the same thing. This is a movie I also recommended. But I also do feel like it is amongst the Oscar nominations for Best Animated Feature. Hold on a sec. Anyways, among those that were nominated this year for Best Animated Feature, I do find it's a little bit among the weaker ones.
Yeah.
And the reason is because of the story. And this one, I just feel like it leans in a little bit too much on the ET formula. And I know there have been plenty of movies, even animated films and family films, that did have this formula, and it worked out beautifully. I mean, you look at The Iron Giant, and I mean, that movie is an absolute masterpiece. But with this one, however, it feels like it's trying too much like E.T. It's almost like the story went on autopilot and just followed those same beats one after another, to the point that it kind of loses some of its originality when the narrative just feels a bit the same. However, I definitely agree with you in terms of the stronger aspects of it, where it really made this movie very fascinating and great to watch. Like, I love the world building of it with how they presented the future, whether it be the near future or the further distance future where you could go and travel through time. But then on top of that, the animation is also beautiful and very immersive to easily suck you into the future that they have built. And the soundtrack is also great. Like, it stands out as like one of the best soundtracks this year from an animated movie. So, like, yeah, it does have like a few flaws, but this is one that I still highly recommend to go and check out, because what works with this movie is still very strong.
All right, let's talk about Zootopia 2. So this has just been a phenomenon. I mean, I think this thing's going to make $2 billion by the time
it could.
Yeah, I mean, it's still, I think it was still in the top 5, and it came out before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I mean, like, and that's one of the crazy things about it. And, like, one of the big benefits of Disney's release schedules when they would put something at the end of the year, kind of like what they do with Disney animation, because when it works out tremendously well, where it continues not just during Thanksgiving, but also during the holiday season and during the beginning of the year. And that's exactly what we've been seeing with Zootopia 2.
Between this and Avatar, they'll have $3.5 billion just with 2 movies.
Oh yeah, and this is not even factoring some of the other features that they put out during the year, like with Lilo and Stitch already crossing $1 billion. So with Zootopia 2, as I mentioned before, like right now it has surpassed Inside Out 2 as the highest grossing American animated feature of all time, and it's still going very well at the box office, which is why I want to say that I feel like that's going to give it a major leverage into the possibility that it could make a big upset at the Oscars and could actually take the win. Not just because of the fact that it was a massive success at the box office, but the fact that it's still popular to this day, where it's still, like, there's still some parts of it that's still continuing and still making the news. Like, we're very, like, as we're recording this, we're very close to its digital release, then it'll be coming out on Disney Plus, and then physical media is going to be coming out, so like the hype and the campaign of Zootopia 2 is still very strong, and it will give it a lot more prominence up until we actually do reach the Oscars. And already in terms of that, this is why, at least I believe, why Zootopia 2 is among the major contenders who could possibly win the Oscar.
And there's a guy on Twitter who had just posted, he's seen it his 100th time. He's seen Zootopia 2 100 times. Oh, jeez. Oh my gosh. I mean, but I did really enjoy it. I thought it was funny. I thought it was creative. I thought it was a little bit less heavy-handed with the messaging. There is a social message in there with the reptiles and everything, but I just thought it was a little bit milder, a little bit less beating you over the head with it than the first one, and I appreciated that they were a little more subtle than the first one. But I had a great time with it. I thought it was very fun. So yay, I guess something good. But I never would have thought that it would do as well. I mean, I knew it would. I had it number 2 in my box office predictions. I thought Avatar, would do number 1, but I had Zootopia at 2, and but I did not think it would do this well. That is unbelievable.
No, but it's especially like in other countries where they
Yeah,
could go
yeah,
crazy.
China.
China especially. I mean, like with Shanghai Disneyland, a lot of people have actually stated that
True.
the only reason why they go there is because they have a Zootopia section.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes,
Yeah.
and honestly, I do agree with you. I really enjoyed this, and I do consider it one of the best animated features of the year. Now,
Yeah.
personally, because I love the first Zootopia. It's
Yeah.
honestly one of my favorite Disney movies and one of my favorite movies in general. And I feel like with the second one, I do have a bit of my criticisms. I feel like it does go heavy-handed with all the different cameos where it would just
Yeah.
continuously stop with like, oh look, we got this guy making a
Yeah.
cameo. Oh look,
I
we got
agree
this
with
guy
that.
making. Yeah, like it can be a little bit much at times, but other than that, though, I feel like it captures exactly what made the first Zootopia amazing. Like everything from the commentary to the action to the animation, to all the different characters, and especially the connection or the dynamic between Judy and Nick is all fantastic. Even regardless if we look past like the box office achievements and the cultural impact of it, like just in terms as a movie in itself, I feel like Zootopia 2 is one of the stronger contenders this year.
Yeah. Well, and I'd also say I forget his name, but the villain, the one that betrays them, can't think of his name.
Linksley?
Linksley. Yeah, I think that they're stronger than like Mayor Weather. If you're
Yeah,
talking villain to villain, I would think this one is a little bit more interesting than
yeah, I do
Mayor
agree.
Weather. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do agree. I feel like as much as I love the first Zootopia, I'll give it that the one thing the second film has a stronger advantage is that the villains are definitely more well built.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about Little Amelie or the character of Rain. I think this one could pull a flow. And I mean
Hmm.
the Academy has been celebrating more niche animation in the last 5 years than it had previously in this category. Then and so I'm glad of that. That's good. You know, with something like Pinocchio or Flo
Yeah.
or so movies like that are getting recognized over their big budget counterparts. And so that would be sort of this movie's journey there. And it would deserve it if it did, because it's a beautiful movie. It would be my choice as far as the one I like the most out of these five. I think whenever a movie, it's a special thing that cinema can do in a way that I don't think any other art form can quite do, is to capture a life, the whole scope of a
Hmm.
life. Something like painting, sculpture, they can capture moments, but there's something special about film that can capture the whole experience of a life. And that's really what you get with Little Amelie, because you start literally with her as a cell and go through her whole life up to that point.
Hmm.
And you see I think almost anybody can connect with our attachments to those who care for us, whether it be a parent or somebody else, and how much we love them when we're little. And it's so warm and endearing, and the animation's so beautiful, that I would defy anybody to watch this and not feel something. Like, it's just so sweet, this movie. And I really enjoyed it. They made my top 10 just movies of the year list.
Hmm. No, I absolutely agree. In fact, considering that now it'll sound crazy, but now there's a new rule that if you're going to vote for Best Animated Feature, you have to watch all of them. I don't know why they have to do it now and not like way back when it should, but
Right.
I feel like with this rule in particular, that's going to be quite a threat to both Zootopia 2 and K-pop Demon Hunters because
Mhm.
now Little Amelie will have a moment to go and present itself. And I agree with you. I feel like it could have a chance to go and pull a flow and end up becoming the winner. Now, I've mentioned this a few times before, but I really do feel like Little Amelie is the closest that we got to a spiritual successor to My Neighbor Totoro, because this
Yeah,
is a
you're right.
movie
Yeah,
about childhood, not to
it's
mention
true.
a movie about childhood in traditional Japan.
Yeah,
So or
true.
not traditional Japan, but like mid 20th century Japan.
Yeah, yeah,
Like that's a little more accurate.
yeah.
But with Little Emily, it definitely is about the charm of it, of just experiencing life through the lens of this 2-year-old girl and just experiencing the joy and just having her first experiences with like some very strong emotions, like seeing her dad cry because the grandmother pass away, or like even or there could be some times where like even visually like it could be very clever in terms of presenting the storytelling. Like one of the best scenes from that movie is when the caretaker, I think Nishio-san, she would go and talk about her past, like surviving through World War II after the Hiroshima incident, and like she would go and tell her story as she is cooking dinner. And
Yeah.
I thought it was just well choreographed. I thought it was just well presented altogether. But still, though, as you said, this is an extremely charming movie, a very beautiful feature, and just easily one of the most, or possibly the most heartfelt movie of that year. And yeah, I do think that it definitely has a strong chance of actually winning. Not to mention that so far during this award season, while there have been a bunch that did give it to K-pop Demon Hunters, Little Emily has managed to sneak away with a bunch of its own. So
and I think it's going to win the BAFTA, and K-pop was not nominated at the BAFTAs, which was very strange.
I'll explain that. Oh, boy, do I have a discussion about that one. And it's not just about the movie itself, so stay tuned for that.
You can have, and I know we'll talk about it next, but the flaws but just the momentum. I was surprised that it didn't get nominated for the BAFTA, but the Little Amelie, I do want to say there's some people who think that it's anime, and that is one clarification that I think is worth making, is that anime has to come from Japan.
Little Emily is a French movie. It is a
Japanese art form. So yes, this is set in Japan, and it is definitely inspired by the anime greats. There's moments of inspiration, but this is a French film. It's not an anime film. But that's something a lot of people don't know. Like my co-host on the movie show, he's like, "Oh, that's anime." I'm like, "No, it's not anime. Like anime has to come from Japan."
It's pretty much like saying Avatar: The Last Airbender is an anime.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. That's a good comparison. That's good. But it's a very sweet movie. I think I just, it's one of those movies I just can't imagine anybody disliking it. I'm sure there's someone out there. But I'm curious.
It's very charming.
Do you love all things rom-com, holiday, and Hallmark? If so, we have the podcast for you, the Hallmarkies podcast. We aim to be your destination for previews and recaps of every romantic comedy and holiday film that's released in cinemas, on streaming, and on channels like Hallmark. We also cover all the Hallmark TV shows like When Calls the Heart and The Way Home. Still not enough? We have recapped every episode of Heartland, Sex and the City, All Creatures Great and Small, and more. We also have weekly ranking episodes and interviews with all your favorite stars. You can listen to Hallmarkies podcast wherever you download your podcasts or watch on video on YouTube. Come join the Hallmarkies family today. We know you will love it.
So this year, in your best and worst, you had more of these independent films, and I'm just curious, did you what kind of response did you get from your viewers?
From my viewers, so far from what I've seen, a lot of them were very appreciative that I did actually include a lot more independent features, and that, it did spice up to make it a little more unpredictable. In fact, even on the best list, I actually did pull some surprises where I included films like I Am Frankelda, and I did put in Little Emily as well among the top ones. I mean, sure, there are a few that did get upset that their personal favorites didn't reach the top, like, oh, why isn't K-pop Demon Hunters up there, or stuff like that. But still, though, honestly, I feel like it's the best update that I've done for my videos, honestly. Like, adding though, like, honestly, and I even gave, I don't know if you saw, I gave you credits in the video itself. So, honestly,
I appreciate it, and then on Facebook as well, so thank you.
Yeah, so honestly, it's like the best update that I've given it, and I feel like it does give it a really good spice.
Good. All right, well, let's talk about K-pop Demon Hunters. This is the movie that I just feel like it's just taken all the air out of the room. Like, it's just monopolized all of everybody. People really responded to it. I really enjoyed it. I mean, I'm a sucker for a musical, so if you put in good songs, and it's that is an easy way to get on my good side. And I thought the overall sort of character arc for Rumi was quite easy to relate with, easy to find find moving and effective, I think. And I am also a big sucker for like a friendship arc, a friendship story. And so between these three women and their friendship, when they're honest, when they're not honest with each other, how that goes back and forth, and it was something unexpected, creative. I enjoyed it. I did not expect it to become like a cultural phenomenon. It definitely has its flaws as far as the what's going on with the demons and the tattoos and the it doesn't really make sense. But I mean, there's a lot of really classic films that when you start picking at it, like, oh, that doesn't really make sense, or that doesn't really make sense, or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's fine. In the end, like the character journey, I think was pretty strong. The songs are super catchy. The animation was nice. There was certainly enough for me to recommend it to to be excited about it. I mean, I know you're less enthusiastic, but you did like it, right?
No, I did like it.
Yeah.
I thought it was fine. I just,
yeah.
like, honestly, I was more I just felt more overwhelmed by the phenomenon aspect of it. But
Yeah.
as a movie in itself, I do think that it is fine. And as you mentioned, like, it is the kind of film where the closer you look at it, the more that you see a lot of these flaws. And that's kind of how I kind of felt during my experience, and, like, thinking about, like, some of the certain events, or, like, how, like, the whole structure of, like, Rumi's character arc, where she has to keep her half demon side a secret. Like, that was a bit of, of a turnoff for me. And I felt like it was kind of like a weaker approach to that narrative, even compared to, like, what Elio has done. But still, though, I just felt like the movie was fine, and it still has its good marks. I mean, like, the animation is still pretty, is still solid. The songs are catchy, of course.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm not really into, like, the whole phenomenon as much of that. But with that said, that's not really what I want to go and talk about. Like, yes, I do think K-pop Demon Hunters is good, but, like, I've already expressed my opinions enough of it.
Do you know that it was 4 out of the 5 top Halloween costumes?
Oh, really?
Or for like, wow.
Dang.
The other thing that was funny is that I did not know there was a difference between demons and devils, because we don't really have either. We don't talk. It's not really a part of my church, so
yeah, it depends on like cultures and stuff like that.
And because I was like, oh, it's the same as like the demons in or the devils in Chainsaw Man and Neja and these all like demons are a thing. And I'm like, no, there's actually, somebody corrected me. I was like, demons and devils aren't the same thing. I was like, they aren't? I didn't know that. So that was funny. You learn something new every day, right?
Exactly. But with that said, what I want to discuss about with K-pop Demon Hunters, like, casting my opinion aside, I feel like, even though right now, yes, K-pop Demon Hunters, with the track record that it has in this award season, it's been doing pretty well, and so far, it feels like a strong contender as much as Lil Amelie and Zootopia too. But with that said, I would not be surprised if the Oscars are going to snub it, at least for Best Animated Feature, and it's mainly because of the Netflix aspect. You gotta keep in mind that right now, we're in a pretty weird time with Netflix, especially right now when they're about to go and acquire Warner Brothers. And there's been tremendous backlash, especially within the Hollywood system, especially like amongst directors, producers, filmmakers, and all that kind of stuff, where they're not cool with what Netflix is doing right now. So there's been a lot of protests and a lot of people demanding that this deal does not happen in the first place, especially with what could be the consequences for movie theaters. And that's another thing you really got to go and keep in mind. Like, the Academy and many of its prominent members, they're very pro-cinema. They're very pro-movie theaters. Like, you even got people like James Cameron, who says that Netflix movies shouldn't even be nominated in the first place. And keep in mind with K-pop Demon Hunters, they're pretty much the face of Netflix right now. Like, they have become the biggest streaming movie of all time. And even though some people could say that, oh, well, they did have a chance to be in movie theaters for a little bit, but still, though, a lot of their fame came from streaming. And I wouldn't be surprised if there are going to be those Academy members who would do like a protest vote and give it to something like Zootopia 2. So they would want to go and reward a movie that is pro-theater instead of K-pop Demon Hunters that's been more of a detriment. In fact, that's actually the reason why K-pop Demon Hunters didn't get nominated at the BAFTAs. It's not because of the movie itself, it's not because of the opinions of British people, but it's because it wasn't released in theaters, especially in the UK, thus immediately disqualifying it from any BAFTA nomination.
It was actually officially disqualified, or
well,
it was on the short list for a BAFTA, wasn't it?
I
mean, it was
think
qualified,
so.
but yeah, I mean, I guess my my counter argument for that is a couple things. First, they've already awarded a Netflix animated film,
Yes,
animated film, a couple of years ago, but still, I mean, they've already done it once before.
but you got to keep in mind which one. That was Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, and that was and keep in mind that was given because it's Guillermo del Toro. He's a beloved auteur in Hollywood. Not to mention that Guillermo del Toro did go and give Pinocchio a push to go and be released in theaters. A limited screening, perhaps, but still, it's more the factor that it is from Guillermo del Toro that it gave it a win, regardless of its status as a Netflix feature.
The other counter arguments that I would say is that there's also two features, live action features from Netflix that are in the top 10. I don't know if that, I mean, with Train Dreams and Frankenstein. So I don't know if that Netflix hate really factors in as much as maybe some people would like. But also, I don't feel like K-pop is really seen as that much of a Netflix film. I think it's seen as a Sony film. I think it's seen as kind of its own thing. Maybe the fact that they did bring it back to theaters twice, maybe that helps it. I don't know. It's possible. What you're saying is definitely possible. And I mean, I would just never count Disney out at all. But certainly, when you've got a $2 billion hit, you can't count it out. I mean, in my Oscar ballot, I'm definitely going to predict K-pop, as the winner. I just think it's the most likely, but to win, and I think it'll also win Best Song. It's interesting because song is actually one of the most competitive categories this year because of Sinners, and so I think it could be a bit of a surprise if Sinners were to take that, but I'm definitely putting Golden on my ballot, Oscar ballot.
No, honestly, I get it, and I'm just expressing a theory, and I could totally be wrong on that. It's just
it's definitely plausible. It definitely is possible.
Yeah. But that's the thing. I just wanted to go and express my theory on it because, yes, there definitely is a likelihood that K-pop Demon Hunters could get the win, but if it didn't, I wouldn't be surprised either because there are those factors. There is the Netflix aspect that would loom over it. And also, just want to go and point out, since you also did mention Frankenstein, again, Guillermo del Toro. But I will say, and just to go into the Best Original Song category, I will say though, I do feel like with the track record that's been going on so far, Golden does feel like it does have a stronger chance to get that win than K-pop Demon Hunters does for Best Animated Feature. I mean, there could also be that upset for If I Lied to You from Sinners suddenly getting that win, but considering with Golden, that did become one of the biggest songs of the year, and even to the point of being nominated at the Grammys for Best Song. I think
it won.
I don't think
it won something.
It did win one. It won for Best. Well, technically, it's the Grammys equivalent of best
Song and
song
film.
in best song
Yeah,
in
yeah.
like a visual medium. Like it did
Because I don't
manage to
follow
win
music
that.
at all, but I remember seeing something on Twitter or whatever, like, oh, it won
Yeah,
a
like it
Grammy.
got it. Yeah, like Golden did get like a few nominations. That was the one that it did win, but
Yeah.
the rest, however, it didn't. Like it got
Okay.
Song of the Year, it didn't win that, and it surprisingly was in like best pop duo, but
Oh yeah.
that interestingly enough lost to Defying Gravity from Wicked.
Oh, it did?
Yeah,
That's random.
interestingly enough.
Yeah, I was joking that if it's not in a film or Broadway musical, I probably don't know anything that's going on at the Grammys. but, but very good. So, I mean, if you're making your predictions, people filling out their Oscar ballots, what would you predict and what do you think should win?
Oof, I gotta say this is one of the toughest years to go and predict that, as at least for best animated feature. And honestly, like for me, it's a big toss up between K-pop Demon Hunters, Little Amelie, or Zootopia 2. Now,
Hmm.
my personal vote, I would go for Zootopia 2, but for the winner, I don't know. If I would say what, you know what? Let's go and spice things up. I'm gonna say Zootopia 2.
Oh, okay.
I think honestly, the phenomenon aspect of that feature and that it's still going so far,
Uh,
I think it could give it the
uh,
slight advantage that it could go and get the win.
uh. I'm gonna stick with K-pop as will win. I think Little Emily should win. I do think it's the best of those
Yeah.
nominees.
Although I will say for my personal picks, like it is a toss up between Zootopia 2
Yeah,
and Little Amelie.
yeah,
Like either one of the two, I would definitely be happy.
yeah.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies.
All right, let's talk about these shorts. So this is going to be very, very interesting to talk about the shorts.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about Forever Green. Let's do that one first. This is an orphan bear cub finds a home with a fatherly evergreen tree until his hunger for trash leads him to danger. This is directed and written by Nathan Englehart and Jeremy Spears, and it is kind of a hybrid animation style to make it sort of made to look like the appearance of stop motion animation. But
Mm-hmm.
what do you think of Forever Green?
I think this is one of the better ones from this year. It is a very cute cartoon, like a little bit of a throwback to something like an old Disney Silly Symphony cartoon.
Yeah, like Humphrey the Bear. It kind of reminded me of a little bit of Humphrey the Bear.
Yeah, a little bit, like a less
Yeah.
comical Humphrey the Bear.
Yeah.
But with Forever Green, I will say, like, it is very nice. Like, you got the animation itself that, not all, like, it has, like, that Spider-Verse stylized animation, but at the same time, it's really nice how it's, like, it makes it look like everything is built out of, like, carved wood. So I, like, even with the attention to detail that they put on that, it was honestly very nice. And not to mention, it does have, like an impactful and very emotional message about pollution in the forest. Because the big conflict is when humans would go and interact with the forest and they would leave their junk in there, thus leading to the trouble that the bear gets into. Like, I think it manages to do well
Yeah.
to go and deliver the message, and especially the heart, with the connection between the bear and the tree. It is a very sweet cartoon, and honestly, like I said, it's one of the stronger contenders this year. I think they did a great job with that one.
Yeah, it's a nice short. It has, a message of overconsumption. We start with just a little bit and we want more and more and more and more and
Hmm.
more and more. And it's usually something that doesn't actually like satiate us or satisfy us. We just keep consuming more and more. And so I think that that's a effective message that it has. So yeah, this one would be in the middle if I was ranking all five, but it would be number three for me, but I did like it. I thought it was. I liked all of these except for one. There was only one that I thought was not good.
All right. I wonder if we have the same one.
I bet we do. Okay, so next one we're going to talk about is The Girl Who Cried Pearls. A haunting fable about a girl overwhelmed by sorrow, the boy who loves her, and how greed leads good hearts to wicked deeds. And this is director Chris Lavis and Maciej Zaborowski. Yeah, this one, I'm hearing that this is the one that a lot of people are predicting to win
Okay.
for if your people are putting on, because that's how you win. If you can get the shorts categories right in your Oscar ballot, that is usually a big plus. If you're at a party or whatever,
Oh yeah.
is if you can get those shorts right, then that'll help you a lot. So that is what I'm hearing, is that this is a favorite. So who knows?
I'm not gonna lie, I do consider it a favorite as well. And I'll even add that I'll explain later, but I may have a little bit of a bias as well.
Okay.
But the thing with The Girl Who Cried Pearls, it definitely, I personally find it to be the strongest of the nominations here, especially when it has a very compelling story that does get you emotionally hooked almost instantly, and then it has a really good twist at the end that really just changes everything. That you kind of feel, like it just makes you realize like how much that the short really does grab you. So I won't be spoiling anything.
I mean,
but
I love stop motion, so just the animation alone is stunning. And so this would actually be second for me, but I really did I did enjoy it and thought it was quite effective. And we won't spoil it, of course, but yeah, the surprise of what's actually happening.
Yes, and the animation is also like
Yeah.
very stunning. Like I looked at the behind the scenes shots, and what they did is pretty much like a combination of rotoscoping with stop motion, and there's just a lot, and there is a lot of it that kind of feels like like it even made me look at it and wonder, like, how did they go and do this? Because in actuality, it is a combination of rotoscoping, stop motion, and even some CG, especially with the facial features when you're back in the present with the grandpa and the little girl. So honestly, it is very well done and with a great story to boot. That for me makes it a favorite. Now, the reason why I mentioned that I might have a little bit of a bias for it is mainly because of the studio behind it, the National Film Board of Canada, which is considered one of or possibly the most prestigious animation studio in the country. And not to mention that it's about like 30 minutes away from where I am. It's actually in Montreal. And not to mention, like, even the story itself is actually set in Montreal. So in that regards, yes, I do have a little bit of a bias because I'm personally going to be rooting for my home team to go and win.
You're like, Chris and Micah, come on my show.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, it's interesting because obviously, like, there's no other country making animation like France right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so to see it also coming out of Canada, particularly French Canada, is interesting too. That it's there as well. I like that. And I just read this, that I guess the English and French versions have different mouths.
Wow, like that extra detail to it.
Yeah, it says on the IMDb, I mean, according, it says the English and French versions have separate mouth animations. Mm-hmm. That's cool.
Yeah, and also I just want to quickly add that this is actually something you can actually check it out for yourself. The NFB actually did upload it on YouTube where anybody can go and see it.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that. Yeah. All right. Let's talk about The Three Sisters. So this is three sisters living on an isolated island must rent out one of their houses. This is Constantine Bronzit is the name. of the animator. And I did not like this one at all.
Oh, really?
No, I don't want to watch a short about a man and three women like practically worshiping this man.
Yeah.
Comes to this island and they're like groveling at his feet. I mean, I don't know. I was just kind of like, I can't believe this got nominated.
Yeah, to be fair, this is one that I look at it and like at best my reaction is like the guy. I'm just there like eh, and that's it. But yeah, it is
so
I do
weird.
get it that it is weird, and I find that it is one of the weaker entries this year, mainly because like it's just like this simple cartoon of three women or three sisters who are kind of like rivaling each other because they fell in love with this one guy, and that's it. Like,
it's like so immediate. Like as soon as he shows up, they're on this island, and as soon as he shows up, they're like very worshipful of this guy, and it was just, I don't know, I didn't get it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, I guess it's like some kind of commentary on love or something like that. But yeah, it really didn't do much. And the funny thing is that it felt like they got something special going on with the animation, especially at the beginning where like you see the rotation of like the island itself, which is like this half dome, and it has like these CG square houses, but they don't really do much with it. Like honestly, like it's just a very basic short about three women going after this one guy, and there's not much to it.
Yeah.
So
it's like even for me,
it's just it's just very eh.
All right, let's talk about Butterfly. This
yes.
is in the sea. A man swims. As he does, memories come to the surface from his early childhood life. In the sea, a man swims. As he does, memories come to the surface from his early childhood to his life as a man. All his memories are linked to water. So I don't know if you know, but I am a huge swimmer. I love, and particularly open water swimming. I've done a bunch of open water races. I just love being in the water. So just the aesthetic of this movie is definitely is something I really connect with. But I thought the animation was absolutely beautiful, and and the fact it's a true story based on this is actually a person that he knew, this guy, and that he'd heard the stories of this man. Anyway,
yeah, and specifically, I did keep note of it. His name is Alfred Nakache, I believe.
Yes, yeah, Alfred Nakache, and that this was somebody that the animator, that I think he knew somebody who knew him. Anyway, so there was like a personal connection to the story, at least, and it's based on true story. And I just thought there were some amazing animated moments, like when he goes from swimming and then and the water turns into a Nazi flag.
Oh yeah,
and then he's up against the Nazis, and the one swimmer will refuse to shake his hand. And the way that it transitioned from the different flags and the different scenes and the different kinds of water, I really, this was my favorite, obviously, but I really liked it a lot. I thought it was really well done, animated, and had an interesting story, true story. So this was my favorite.
Yeah, I could see definitely a lot of his strengths. For me, I put it at like number 3 behind Forever Green and Girl Who Cried Pearls, but I could still acknowledge how it is still a strong contender and that it earned its spot in the nominations. Like, the animation is very beautiful, where it's literally using paintings to go and present its medium. Like, literally each frame is actually a painting, and like doing the different, doing like those intricate transitions. Like, it definitely is a fascinating feature that kind of presents a very unique style. And not to mention how the story like it is, like it is like pretty heavy and also very emotional at the same time, where like it starts out like, oh, this is about the rise of this like great butterfly swimmer, and then it's like, oh, but he's also a black Jewish man during the Holocaust, so like life is tough for him. So it's like, oh, okay, so yeah, but still, the storytelling and the narrative does actually work well to get you to learn more about
Yeah.
who this guy is and the term, and the challenges that he had to go and face. But still, maybe not necessarily.
This Florence Maelli.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I know I'm saying that right. Saying Florence Maelli. I will definitely have her on my radar though. I thought it
Oh,
was. I just thought it had a beautiful style to it. I'd be very curious if she got a feature, what she would do.
oh, that would be very
You know?
interesting.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, honestly, if you take something like Butterfly and you turn that into a feature, that will definitely catch my attention. So, yeah,
Yeah.
honestly, with Butterfly, for me, I feel like I don't know if this is the one that I would consider to be the winner for this year, but definitely one of the top ones that that belongs to be nominated.
Yeah. All right. So the last one to talk about is Retirement Plan. And this one is in the throes of his overstimulated, energy poor midlife. Ray fantasizes about everything he'd love to do in retirement once he finally has the time. This is director John Kelly is the name, and it has narration by Dom Hall Gleason. And I really did like this one. This one is very sweet, and it's such a easy to connect with message. There's so many things that we put off till tomorrow, and then tomorrow never comes.
Oh.
And that to don't. I think a lot of us learned that lesson in the pandemic. To don't wait, to do whatever it is that you want to do. And then once we got the chance back, and they called it like revenge travel. that I know I did. A lot of people did. That don't put off what you can do. Obviously, you have to do it responsibly, but don't put off what you can do today for a special occasion, or don't save the pretty dress for a special occasion. Go and make that happen now. Your whole life is a special occasion. Your whole life should have meaning, and not kind of waiting for. I think the flip side of this is when we say like, oh, life will get good if you're a mom, life will get good once he's out of the teething phase, or life will get good once he's walking. Life will get good once he's at school. Life will get good, and the more you say that, then I get it. We all have survival moments where we just got to survive, and you just got to get through this. But it shouldn't be our go-to.
Yeah, honestly, no, I get it, but honestly, this is the one that I didn't like, actually.
Oh, okay.
Because for me, this just feels like a list of things that someone wants to think about doing to retire. Because literally the whole short is just, when I retire, I want to do this. 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 Okay, maybe I don't want to do this. All right, I want to do this. Oh, maybe I should be careful about doing this. I want to do this. I want to do this. It's like, it just keeps going on and on and on, like just like this continuous list. And it kind of left me a little bit confused as to like what it wants to go and say. I mean, I want to thank you for like giving me more of an understanding of what this is about, because honestly I didn't really get that when I was watching Retirement Plan. Like it was just mostly, like I said, it's just a guy who's listing through things that what he wants to go and do. Like there isn't really a plot that's actually
he's
going on
listing that as you're seeing the images of his life going on. And so he's saying all these things that he wants to do while you're seeing the images of him getting older and not doing most of those things.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know. Like
that's what I took from it, at least.
Yeah,
like,
no,
don't do it.
I'm not taking that away from you.
Yeah.
It's just like for me, it's like just just like watching it. I was like, wait, what's going on? What's this about? What are we doing? Like, is it like? But the funny thing is that the dude is talking in the future tense. So like, I don't know if like the guy would be like an our age, or if he is at the age that he's presented in there.
Midlife, so I would think like they're 30-ish.
So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I can see that.
There's just something about it that like did really connect with me. So yeah,
that's interesting. It is the shortest. All the rest are around 15 minutes, and this one is 7. So that's interesting. But there we go. That is the shorts. I mean, if you had to pick which one you think will win, which one you think should win, what would you say?
However, beforehand, do you want to talk about that honorable mention?
Yeah.
Because like in our screening, they presented all the shorts, and then at the end they put in that bonus one.
Yes. So it's called Eru. And it is when the water mysteriously disappears from the well in a warrior clan's village. An intrepid child descends into the belly of the earth to retrieve it. And this is Giovanna Ferrari. And it's Cartoon Saloon, right?
Yeah, it's definitely Cartoon Saloon.
Yeah, I mean, it really looks like it. But yeah, I mean, I certainly like this a lot better than Three Sisters.
Yeah, honestly, this is one that I would easily like take out either Retirement Plan or the Three Sisters and put this one in here. I kind of feel like it's very similar to Forever Green, except this one has a lot more of that Cartoon Saloon flair, like those elements that you know and love from stuff like The Secret of Kells or Song of the Sea or Wolfwalkers. Like that's also integrated here as well, where it's very it's very stylistic. Like it has like
strong
that
female character.
Yeah, like it has like a very distinct animation style going for it that makes it fascinating to watch. You do have like the strong female protagonist that wants to be a warrior, and even a very nice commentary of unity over war, and presented in a very powerful and impactfully emotional way, especially when Eru is down the well and she sees like the true consequence of war that is going on, and like the real reason why is it that the water in the well is completely gone. So honestly, if you're a fan of the works of Cartoon Saloon, this is one that you shouldn't go and mix. Again, I'm not 100% sure. I think this is another one that is also uploaded on YouTube for free that you could go and check out. But I don't know if that was only for a limited time, but like check it out just in case. Like if you can, definitely go see it.
Definitely. And like I said, is an additional bonus as part if you go to the theaters and see the animated shorts, then you get a bonus of Eru. So there we go. So going back to the question of the 5 that are nominated, which one do you think will win? Which one should win?
Honestly, for me, I'm definitely gonna vote for The Girl Who Cried Pearls. I'm gonna be wearing my Montreal Canadiens jersey, like rooting for my team. No, but for the one who could actually win, I mean, since you mentioned that a lot of people are probably leaning more towards that, I think I'll say the same thing. I think it could be The Girl Who Cried Pearls that's going to be getting the win.
Yeah. I think that it will win, but I would go with Butterfly. That would be my pick if it was just me. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Let us know what you think if you get to see any of the shorts in particular, but also our conversation about the features. We'd love to hear your thoughts about all of that in the comment section. And thanks so much, Matt. This is always so much fun.
Oh yeah, I had a great time, and also thank you for the screener for all the animated shorts. I feel like now I'm more ready to go and enter into the Oscars to try to pick like who's going to win and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, good. Well, if people want to follow you, how do they do that?
Well, the main thing you could go and follow me is on YouTube with my channel, Electric Dragon 505. I am also on various different social medias. Of course, I am on Facebook, Instagram, and Blue Sky as Mat Brunet or Animat. I also have my own podcast with Animat's Crazy Cartoon Cast that I present both on Twitch, on YouTube, and on different podcast services like Spotify and all that kind of stuff. And at the same time, if you would like to go and support my work and get some awesome rewards, then you could go to patreon.com/animat.
And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes, and at KSL Movie Show right now. So definitely check that out. Also check out Hallmarkies podcast. Lots of fun stuff going on over there. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. That helps a lot. And if you're watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate that. Also have the Patreon group, which is the biggest way you can support everything I'm doing. You get a part of cool experiences where you get to have Q&As and other cool things with talent. And you get all of the episodes ad-free. So check that out. Also have the merch store where you have hashtag Animation Junkie shirts and other fun stuff. So take a look at that. And thanks so much, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
All right. See you later, dudes.